Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Good morning. So, right out the gate, I want to say this episode was legions better than last week. Just want to pretend last week never happened. And this episode proves that you can get to the point without dragging it out, like last week, just completely dragged out for no reason, really. Kept reiterating the same point over and over again. And it was annoying. And I'm like, I get it. I can see it with my own eyes. Like, stop, move on. If anything, this week should have been longer than last week. Last week should have been shorter. This week should have been longer. So, we in this episode open up with Ellie staring at herself in the mirror. She's pretending to shoot with her new gun that she stole from Bill's house. Another thing I like about this series is
here's the bridge. That's
stuff
our way
that's
out of
added,
here.
like the lore of the history.
Hey, Ellie, slow down.
Type of stuff.
Wait for me.
What? Right here.
How about you let me go first and keep your voice down?
Okay.
It's one of those things that makes this really stand out. I like how sometimes it deviates from the game. Like in this episode, you see these federal people. And they basically took over a QZ zone, quarantine zone. And this is when we first hear of Henry and Sam. And we meet them at the end of the episode. Before we get to that, I think it's interesting seeing more people in this world. As I've said, the lore and history is probably the most interesting part of adaptations like this. Although I could have done without the explicit content from last week, I was just, it was gross.
What was that?
I'm like, this is unnecessary. But I wasn't expecting them to bring up the pun book as early as soon. I'm like, oh no, read about the pun book. It's another nod to Riley, so hopefully we'll be meeting her in flashback soon. Hope next couple episodes, or at least an hour. Because they still have a lot of ground to cover. On top of the new material that's been added, like everything is QZ zone, and the loader is clearly coming next week. Clearly it already resides in that QZ zone, which is when we saw the floor starting to move. I'm curious, at the end of the episode, we see this is definitely going to be a very different Sam and Henry. Because when people tell you, oh, well, he doesn't really smile or whatever, like, it's not a world where you smile. This is a world where death resides around every corner. When I think about it, her mother died in childbirth. She lost her best friend to the infection. Then, X amount of years later, she's abducted. She gets taken to this Firefly camp, where she's basically been running tests on like she's a creep, like she's anything but human. Then she meets Joe and Tess, on with Tess. This Tess who basically becomes like a mother figure. Then Tess dies.
Like it.
And she's stuck with this, as far as she's concerned, motionless old guy.
We'll get there.
And they don't trust each other at that point in time. So,
This
In
is
this
what most
episode, we'll
zones
really
look
start
like.
to see
This place has been
Joel's
abandoned
humanity
for a while
starting to
now.
re-emerge. I like how she's the one bringing it out of him. It was like what Sarah said in the first episode.
Yeah, me too.
If she can repair his watch,
Just
he
keep
would
it
have
down
done it
while
on
we
his
go
own.
through this area, okay?
So fucking
So,
tired. We were up
I
all
like how
night.
she's the one bringing that out. This
Oh, yeah?
kind
You
of
were a part of that? I heard about this.
makes it more believable with this
I've never seen anyone
this
so much
$4
fucking
thing they have
energy.
going
Took a
on.
couple minutes to snuff everyone
Surrogate
out.
father.
Fucking 5 hours to hunt her ass down.
Jesus. Sometimes you gotta earn your keep, right?
Yeah, I guess. We were about to give up when she started shooting at me. It's stupid. She could have got away. I had 2 other guys keep her busy.
I think it actually helps that the actors weren't like studying the games, because it makes it more natural when they're portraying these characters.
No way.
I think if
That
they
girl, she'd
were as immersed into the games as gamers are, I don't think the show would work as well. Probably wouldn't be as much fun either, because it would just be shot for shot remake, just like that. What was that 2018 Tomb Raider movie, which is okay, but it could have been a lot better. I think if they had just done their own thing instead of literally copying and pasting from the reboot games, which really aren't that good anyway. But I think this was a good step in the right direction, and I really hope that they don't deviate from this course going forward.
Bossman says we're getting big enough to expand.
Outside of Sam and Henry, I don't want to see any more relationships outside of Ellie and Riley or Sam and Henry. Or brotherly relationship.
We can set up a larger
Because
perimeter.
clearly they can't handle getting to the point.
I don't know, maybe we find some gas, get some more generators going. I'd like to restore one of those old projectors. Watch some movies.
That shit ain't happening. I've heard that expansion talk way too many times. And every time we try, it ends up with a bunch of us getting killed. Stay for that, asshole!
Oh, shit!
Spread out!
And it's as simple as Tess climbing into bed with Joel and wrapping her arm around him. It's that simple.
I'll clear over here, you!
Don't need to see Tess in the shower. Or to make it up by a flower garden or some nonsense. I'm like, get it. Move on. Like, as an author, I know less is more when it comes to this type of stuff. Less is more. Because they keep reiterating Disney Wars. The problem I have with Disney Wars is they give away too much information.
Go!
Gotta reload, man. Jesus.
Watch my back! I got him.
And I do like the,
Don't lose him!
that Ellie, we see Ellie actually walking out to save Joel. It was done differently in this version. I think it was in the game.
Take
So
it
that
easy.
was interesting.
Everything's cool, man.
And the Fedra people are like learning more about that. Well, it's my own trap. Clearly we're going to see the blower next week. I'm very, very curious how they're going to do that. More importantly, how they're going to explain it. Because without spores, I don't know if bloater really makes sense. Clickers work for the most part. Bloaters, I don't know how that's going to make sense now.
Keep looking.
Better yet, that creature in the second one in the hospital, low level of the hospital that you have to run from as Abigail. Very curious how they can explain that. Again, the spoilers wouldn't work in this iteration anyway, because outside in the air, spoilers are in the air. It's going to be enclosed your hair, your skin. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a mask, unless you're going to wear a hazmat suit for your entire life. There's no way spoilers would work. So,
Check over that way.
kind of glad they deviated from that. I'm gonna listen to the inside the episode with Neil Druckmann, and you're like briefly comments saying he likes to humanize villains, and I think that's a good point because, especially when we talk about Abigail in part 2, because we all see her as a villain until we're playing through her eyes. I think that's what he's trying to do with these Fedra people, is see things from their perspective.
Nothing here either.
If they clearly took over that QZ zone.
Here he is!
Watch out!
Come on. He was a lot slower in this than I remember. I'm kind of curious to learn more about these people. I think there's a lot of potential to explore more elements of this world that we don't really get in the game. So we just get these encounters with the Fedra people. We don't get to see them as people. And you notice at the end of the episode, you see Sam in particular wearing this face paint on his eyes. I'm curious what that's all about. Maybe they're part of, it's not that there's any tribes in that world, but like I said, it's clearly going to be a very different version of Sam and Henry. This is not a world where kids get to really have a childhood, so I'm curious how they're going to handle that this time around. We see Sam in the game, he's very shy and uncertain and stuff, and this one he seems way more confident. Just from the one glimpse we get of him. Reminds me of Walt.
Keep searching.
Up there!
Especially the way he just put his hand to his mouth and all that. Very Walt from Lost. Shows to be very good.
See over there?
You're dead, asshole!
See, I thought Ellie was going to shoot that guy that attacked Joel. And she did shoot him. I thought she was going to shoot him again, but she looks like that's where she was headed.
He's over here!
I think that would have been an interesting way to do that. No, she pretty much takes him out.
He's got a gun.
Motherfucker!
It just seemed like she just injured him in this. And then Joel was the one that knifed him. So I thought Joel was just going to straight up shoot him in front of the kid, but he told him to go hide. So that was interesting. Again, I like the aspect of the Fedra people. Getting to know them. They're going to hopefully this movie a little bit longer. This was the right amount of length as far as the episode. Again, I think last week was a waste of a lot of time. Wasted a lot of freaking time.
See him!
He's not over here!
We could have gotten to the point 10 times faster if they had just skipped
Behind
over
those
that
bookshelves!
stupid
Ready for that! Whoa!
Like, again, I just want to prove this point that the first episode
The edge of the
clearly
universe and
showed
back.
that Tess and Joel
You
worked
wanna
together.
survive.
Excuse me?
Well, they didn't go and show them in
Savage
bed the
Stone.
next scene. And
Comic
moved
I've been
on.
reading, what the hero says after a big battle.
I'm just like, last week just felt so disjointed.
Yeah.
I felt like a completely different show.
Okay.
I wasn't even sure what I was watching when Joel and Ellie weren't even on screen. It was just all over the place. Well, I guess nice to see this week is getting back on track. So again, I just want to pretend last week never happened.
Look at all these
It's a shame
books.
Ellie never got to meet Bill, because
I wish I had more
I
room in
thought
my
their
pocket.
interaction in the game was terrible.
Reader, huh?
When I'm not running away from hunters and infected. Yeah, I read all the time.
It's always nice seeing that Joel's starting to open up a little bit to Ellie as they're continuing to travel, getting to know each other well. As much as he'll open up, because he's pretty closed off, understandably so. I kind of like that he's not the quote-unquote alpha male. It makes more sense for him to be damaged and closed off. Everything he's witnessed. Like, not too long ago, we just found out his partner was infected and turned into one of those zombies. So, I think he has every reason to be walled off for everything he's been through.
Let's see where this leads us.
Yeah, I like that Ellie's the one that's bringing his humanity out. They still have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm like, hopefully won't be wasting any more time with pointless relationships.
Down. Let's get out of here.
Like I got the concept of what they were trying to say last week. I got the concept. It's visual art. I can see with my eyes. You know, I just...
All right. I don't think they saw us.
just kept going over the same point over and over again.
closer.
It's like, you know,
I think.
Just keep at it. Come on.
with this form of art or any form of art, you have to trust your audience. You don't trust your audience,
I can't make that
you're not
jump.
going to have an audience.
If you get me up there, I can move that plank.
Wait here. Let's see where this goes.
I'm not going to blame Justin on that last week. It's definitely the director's fault for over-explaining stuff
What the hell?
to the point where it's kind of annoying.
Oh, this place is bad.
Thankfully, this week, managed to tone it down and just get to the bloody point. Most people was a pretty solid
What's that all
episode.
about?
Get on. We're
It
coming
just
to the
dragged
hotel.
out and it just kind of became boring. And I don't need action in every scene. But
Oh,
you're telling a clear,
Don't worry, I
concise
ain't
story,
gonna drop
just
you.
tell the bloody story and stop reminding me. Because I can see with my freaking eyes.
Set up that plank like they did.
Like if you're reading a book and you're reading descriptions of characters holding hands, it's clear they're together. You don't need to tell them over and over again. Ridiculous.
now you just need to find a way out.
I think this version of Henry is going to be interesting because it looks like this crazy lady, Kathleen or whatever, is clearly looking for him and he clearly caused some trouble. So I think he's going to be similar to Joel in that way, as far as being, for the most part, unhinged. So I'm curious to see what his relationship with Sam as his brother is going to be like this time around, because it's clear that Henry was obviously the one in charge, but I get the sense that Henry is not going to be as much in charge in this version. It seemed like he was like very nervous holding that gun at the end of the episode, whereas Sam seemed way more like, I'll definitely kill you, old man. So I think he's going to be a little more similar to Ellie as far as like being
Oh, this place
a kid, but
stinks.
not a kid
Yeah,
growing
wood's
up in this
overrun.
world, which makes you kind of not
You
really
go to
a
coffee
kid.
shops a lot?
I did.
Because it forces you to grow up
All the time.
a lot
And what would
faster
you
than
get?
you should
Just,
in this particular
just
world
coffee.
of The Last of Us. So I always wondered what little Sarah would be like if she actually grew up. Would she be like Ellie? I heard a scary thought.
Do you think those hunters are gone?
We're about to find out. It's clear, Ellie. Come on down.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they did this part pretty well in the TV series. I thought when they went to the field they were going to run into some stalkers or
After 4,
something,
they don't need to shit on me.
but
No,
I
this
think
is
it's
too
going
rich for
well.
my blood.
I like the way they've been using
But it was nice.
different material from the games and remolding them to fit this world that they're building on TV. So I think that's really the problem with many adaptations, like with Resident Evil, for instance. TV show, the only thing I recognize in that show was the umbrella symbol.
I bet we can get up there.
Everything else is pretty much made up. There's nothing about that show made any sense. Anyone play those games? Like, all you need is Raccoon City, and then go from there. You don't need to overexplain anything, just give us Raccoon City the way it's been done, like in Last of Us. Maybe show different stories going on at the same time. One side story with Leon, maybe another with Chris or Claire, Jill, Rebecca, whoever. That's something. I kind of like when the story jumps around in different spots. One show I remember that did that pretty well was probably 24 back in the day. It'll never be done like that ever again, but I think that show definitely set a bar pretty high.
I'm on it.
I thought it was interesting in this version how when Ellie saves Joel from that crazy dude, that he
Watch
basically
yourself.
says nothing, but he still snatches the gun from her. Like he wants to say thanks, but nothing comes out instead. I didn't need them to have a straight up argument or conversation about it, but
Oh, shit. Get down.
it was pretty clear she was uncomfortable. Oh, crap.
How many is that now?
5 just this week. Hey, I'm not complaining.
I bet you're not. We done here?
I got on the floor to check, man.
Check for what? I ain't seen a clicker in weeks.
That's because we're thorough. We're gonna keep being thorough. Let's wrap this up, right?
Now, you kind of see that a little bit in the games, but in live action, I think it's done a lot better because we have actual actors this time around, and not just voices and pixels on screen. So I would agree with Troy Baker's comments saying that this is a better version of that story from the games. I would agree. Not last week, but episode 1, 2, and 4 for sure. Last week, I just wanted to pretend it never happened. Started off good, but once Frank arrived, I think that's when the problems really started, at least for me. And I'm like, again, it was a good story, but kind of pointless because they both died. So I'm like, could have kept one of them alive at least. Not to be nitpicky, but I'm like, what was the point then? Could have just summarized this in a couple of minutes. You got the same message across. Again, like, Tessa walking, climbing into bed with Joel, wrapping her arm around him. It's literally 10 seconds, and you understand everything about them. Last week's episode took 45 minutes to an hour to explain these two morons like each other. Could have been summed up in 10 minutes. It's hysterical. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. And got the same issue with Disney Wars. Going into the past, telling prequels to prequels. I guess people like prequels now. So they didn't when George Lucas was making them. I guess they're okay now. Explain that to me. No, and Jeffrey Pierce, who was the voice of Tommy in the games, actually has a role in the show. Apparently, he's a military soldier or something. I recognized his voice the more he started talking. I'm like, oh snap, it's Tommy. Not Tommy in the show, but from the games. Pretty cool. I think Troy Baker also has other parents, as well as Ashley Johnson. I think she's Ellie's mother in this, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I don't like that this show isn't overly violent. There's more of a character study. Again, not counting last week, because that was just a slugfest.
He's over here! Cover me! I'm moving up!
And sometimes it's nice to have moments where the characters are like making the best of that situation, like they were in that hotel or whatever building that was. I assume that's where Sam and Henry were residing. Joe was clearly out of it, which is probably why he never heard them enter the room. I think they should have barricaded a little bit better, but
Son of a bitch!
yeah, I'm very curious to see how they're going to handle this bloater. Let alone explain how the hell this bloater even exists in this version of this world. It's like 20 years this thing has been going on for the most part. Let's say bloaters are the ones that have been infected the longest, so. And it looks pretty identical to the game, so I'm like, okay, how are they going to explain this? So my hopes for the rest of the season is that obviously we'll get to the hospital by the end, but still want to explore more of these characters.
Click, click. What you gonna do now?
Yeah.
Watch my back.
Oh, shit!
Kind of like this crazy lady. Kind of mirrors my lady who leads the Fireflies. She kind of reminds me also of Isaac a little bit. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, it will be the same result. People really gotta get over that whole gender thing. Doesn't really matter. It's about survival. So it should be the best person for the job. You gotta take all that extra stuff out. She's the most qualified, then she's the most qualified. If it was Jeffrey Pierce's character, then Jeffrey Pierce's character. That would be the same result. They're probably gonna die anyway, so who cares?
Hey, it looks like there's a ladder inside this elevator.
Hold up, let me try to open it.
Kind of hopefully into Abigail by the end of the season, and Jackson City.
Let's see where this goes.
Maybe we can do something I didn't do in the games and actually develop her. Have her be part of the town.
It's gonna be a tight fit.
Instead of her just randomly showing up to take out one person. With Breakdown to part 2, I think that was one that we could ask for. Because he just comes out of nowhere. It's like, well, what the hell is this about? I know that was probably the original script.
Here we go.
There we go.
If they actually be part of the town. So I actually playing the original version of the game. So I'd like to see some version of that on TV.
I'm all right. Are you okay?
No! You scared the shit out of me! I'm gonna climb down there, okay?
No! Stay out there. I'll make my way up to you.
Don't do anything stupid!
I'll try.
Yeah, I think that would be a better way to get her character on the screen.
Where to now?
Because at least if we previously met the character, you can at least sympathize with her motivations, which they get to in the game eventually. But to get to it faster, I think she should at least be a resident of that town. She was a wolf, apparently. former Firefly and all that, but I think we can exercise that a little bit
I think I
earlier
tried
in
over
the
there
story. I
yet.
think it'll make a lot more sense when she goes after Joel. Not that I want to see it anytime soon, but because there were some plot holes. I won't say entirely in part 2, but they have an opportunity with this adaptation to make a little more sense. Again, they explain a lot about her motivations in part 2, but this show has already been renewed, so a little more reason to go into more backstory. Because this show is pretty much a character study of these characters, this world. I think we should do more world building, particularly with those characters, the wolves, the fireflies. Get to know them a little bit more. Like Druck said in the behind the scenes, humanizing villains. We see them as villains, but they're still people. So seeing them in a different light, I think, could help the show. It might even make the games a little bit better too. There's only so much time I have to do that. These games more entwined with the gameplay than they were with the Fireflies or whatever. Just see them as in this one side. Crap, that thing. You just see one side of the conflict, is what I'm saying. I think with this Fedra, we're going to see both sides of the conflict, how different people handle the situation, how different people have been handling the situation for about 20 years. We know what Joel's been doing. And apparently we know what Tess was doing when she met Joel, so... Like in the games, it made it seem like Tess and Tommy weren't really that close. Seems like they're a lot closer in this version to kind of like, not so much the cases got through everything, but it's like Joel was so hard for what happened to his kid, understandably so. It's nice to see he's a little bit softer when it comes to his brother, eventually to Ellie and all that. So that's nice to see.
Here we go. Damn it. These things.
Because you're gonna see that big ass boulder next week. Joel like that whole freaking weapon behind. And in the third episode or whatever, Son Marks. Dude, you have a freaking arsenal of weapons here, literally taking with you, and you left it all behind. Good job, Summer Texas. So we're going to see this thing next week. I'm like, damn. It looks pretty good, and they're using practical effects and all that. I'm just like, I don't know how they're going to explain it. Because this is, they don't use spores in this world, in this version. This adaptation, so I'm like, very curious. Should be interesting to speculate. And I think so far, my favorite episode of the series. The first episode is my favorite. The first couple acts of the second episode up until Tess dies, that irritated the crap out of me the way it happened. It's a little creepy. I think it should be because it's set in a horror world. But 1, 2, and 4 do not like last week at all. Parts of Ellie and Joel were good, but the Frank Bill stuff is where I think the problem is started to emerge for me. I think it went downhill from there, at least for me. People say it's a divided episode. I don't think it is. I think anyone that thinks logically would know that it could have explained that situation in a couple of minutes. In this episode, that episode took 45 minutes to explain what the first episode explained in less than 10 seconds. That's a big difference. Like, it's a point. This is why I'm glad it's on HBO, because HBO has a freaking massive budget. Clearly, it's the right spot for the show. You can't put something that's on freaking Netflix. I honestly wish that the Witcher series should be picked up by HBO going forward, whether it has Henry Cavill or not. I just think that should need a better budget going forward. It was pretty good for the first season. Second season was pretty good for the most part. Started to deviate from the books a little too much, in my opinion. I think they put as much as they could in there, but I kind of get the Blood Origin. The Blood Origin was a bloody mess. It's terrible. Like, it's so crucial when you're doing any type of art to not overdo it. And lastly, they just overdid it. And it's like, well,
Let's see what we got.
they made their point with the piano scene. They made the point again with the shower scene or whatever. Leaving the clothes on the bed was more than enough. Piano scene was more than enough. They kept going. And I'm like, well, I think I understand what's going on. That's stupid. They just dragged it out. Could have been a 30-minute episode with the exact same points. You had the scene with Joel sitting with Bill, and he just says, I understand. And that's all you need. You don't need to display anything else. They both have partners. Fine. Move on. Stop dragging it out. Ridiculous. didn't get to this weekend, and this week felt like, okay, looks like I think I'm back in the Last of Us world now, because last week clearly wasn't. People say the episode for review bomb, I'm like, no, people were just being honest because the episode stunk. That's what all there is to it. Like they made their point in the first scene they have together. Made their point.
Finish it! I got it!
Nicely done. You bit?
Not today. You?
Not today. All right. Spread out. Make sure we didn't miss any more of these. Spread out!
You may already see this Kathleen person is already pretty ruthless. I mean, Marlene is pretty ruthless as well, but this chick seems a little more unhinged than even she is. Marlene has a specific goal, specific motivations, but at the end of the day, she was kind of a threat to Ellie, so that's why Joel took her out. I can't wait to see that on screen. You just come after her.
Nothing!
Bam!
Son of a bitch! Over here!
I just don't want the rest of this to be rushed just to get the stuff from the games. I like exploring this world, and I think they should push as much as they can into the second season for that exact reason. Otherwise, it's going to turn to a jumbled mess. So last week, they just wasted so much time. Wasted so much time. Like this scene deviates from the game when she saves him. I think this basically becomes Batman's like, why aren't you Hangman like I told you to? So I'm kind of glad I didn't have a straight up conversation about it, but he does, in his own way, say thanks for having my back, that type of thing. Told not to take a gun. So now I imagine he's grateful that she did. Otherwise she'd be dead. I mean, there's a couple of times in the game where he probably would have been dead enough for her. Like when they go into the Firefly campus and he falls and right here on his, I don't want to say rib cage, but like close enough that should have killed him on impact. It didn't, but getting bashed in with a golf club did. So I'm like, well.
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
Yeah, you sure did.
I feel sick.
And you just hang back like I told you to.
Well, you're glad I didn't, right?
I'm glad I didn't get my head blown off by a goddamn kid.
You know what? No. How about, hey, Ellie, I know it wasn't easy, but it was either him or me. Thanks for saving my ass. You got anything like that for me, Joel?
We gotta get going.
Lead the way.
But I really like the way Pedro Pascal's portraying his character. I think it just brings a little more. He just brings something different to the table when it comes to bringing his character to life that we don't really get in the game. This is no knock on any of the actors. But I think you just connect more with them in the show.
We need to get back out
than you do
and find
in the
that
game.
bridge.
Because he feels more real. Because he feels like the person that could live in this world with us. Because of how damaged he is and how that stuff, what happened to him has affected him so much. I can probably relate, honestly. Sometimes your experiences, they just kind of hardens you over time. Then that just makes you more human. At the time of this, you're just running from hunters or zombies. So, in the show, taking a step back and just letting his character unfold over time, I think it just makes it better as far as adapting it.
I'll be able to get there with this. All right. Damn, this is heavier than I thought. Hey, how about a hand?
Are you sure you can trust me with that?
Ellie. Push!
I am.
Push harder!
There, how's that?
Let's go.
This is one of those things that this is exactly how adaptations of video games should be done. Yeah, not last week. That was terrible. But going forward, I definitely want to see more of the strengths of their relationship. Because without that, this wouldn't work at all. So I'm kind of glad they got back to that with this episode. And as much as I'd like seeing other characters, I just don't think last week worked particularly well. At least not for me. Because they just dragged it out a little too far. I'm not going to go into details, but if you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. This went too far. Okay, I didn't need to see that. This is something I don't ever want to see in my life. A woman giving childbirth, because they usually do that on TV for some reason. Never want to see that, ever. It's disgusting. It's like watching someone taking a dump or something. This is gross. I thank goodness for a remote, so I can zip past it. They tried to do that on Game of Thrones, the last Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon. Like, nope, zip. Never want to see that. I don't ever want to see two bearded people going at it ever again. And for the record, I don't want to see that with Ellie or Dina or Ellie or Riley either. It's just awkward and it's unnecessary. You can prove your point in a million different ways.
Come here. Right now, I'm gonna jump down there and I'm gonna clear us a path.
What about me?
You stay here.
This is so stupid. We'd have more of a fucking chance if you let me help.
I am. You seem to know your way around a gun. You reckon you can handle that?
Well, I sort of shot a rifle before, but it was at rats
Rats.
with BBs.
Well, it's the same basic concept. Lift it up. All right, now. You're gonna want to lean right into that stock, because it is gonna kick a hell of a lot more than any baby rifle.
Okay.
Go and pull the bolt back. Grab it right there. Just tug it. There you go. And as soon as you fire, you're gonna want to get another round in there quick. Listen to me. If I get in trouble in there, you make every shot count. Yeah.
I got this.
All right. And just so we're clear about back there, it was either him or me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I should have known better.
Just like we still gotta meet what's his name, Crazy David, at some point. So I'm like, if we can just push some of that to the next season and wrap that up, and then seamlessly transition into like meeting the wolves, former Fireflies, and all that. Because there's still some things you have to adjust. Because Dina finds out Ellie's immune because her mask breaks. They don't have masks in this show. So we really need to, hopefully Neil Druckmann has to figure out how they're going to do that, if they even have Dina in the show at all. In the second season, or however many seasons they have. I guess he's going for at least 3 seasons. Whether or not there's a part 3 or not, they can still stretch it out. Because there's still so much you can do. I just still want to see it end and have so many other missed opportunities. Because part 2, the biggest missed opportunity was never got another Joel Ellie adventure. So hopefully in the next season we can get more Joel and Ellie adventures. Just them traveling is enough. Because in part 2, Joel's killed off in the first hour of the game. Not even an hour of the game. And he's just gone. So like we have this opportunity with these actors, and the way this is done on HBO, I'm like, stretch it out as long as you can, because clearly the audience is loving it. I'm enjoying it. Not last week, but I am enjoying it. So I want to see this continue as long as possible. And I am looking forward to next week. Usually I'm not crazy about weekly television, but just seeing the glimpse of the motor and Joe saying, run, I'm like, damn. It's going to be a long week.